Hello, and welcome to Moonride. I'm here in my series with Spiritual Pals, where we talk about spiritual stuff. And I'm here with Jenn Lynn. Tarot.com is where you can get a hold of her. She's obviously not JennLynnTarot.com. That's her site. If we go to your site, JennLynnTarot.com, what kind of things can you do?
I do 1 hour readings. I only do 1 hour readings using tarot cards and using mediumship and using my own psychic hits that I get, as well as healing energy work if that's needed. I can do remote healing. There are also on my website, if I'm doing an event, like I have an event this fall, if you'd like to learn how to do healing energy work, I'm teaching in Portland,
Mm.
Oregon this fall. You can go to JennLynnTarot.com and then click on seminars and sign up for the event.
Wow, that sounds really exciting. Yeah, I'd do that, especially the healing part. That sounds just right up
It's
everybody's alley now.
it's my first love. I've read tarot cards since I was 19, but I've done healing energy work since I was about 26, 27. I had a psychic tell me when I was 19 I was a healer, but I had my own, I was in college and I had my own things, my own traumas I had to heal from and stuff. So I didn't do anything with it. And then all of a sudden I got to a certain age and I'm like, well, what's it mean to be a healer? So I started exploring it and learned. And then my guides kicked in and taught me more. So I work differently with healing energy than most healers. I work from the astral body back into the physical, but because I see the body like we have a spiritual body, an emotional body, an astral body, and then the physical body. And the astral body has the memory of everything healthy. So I work a lot of times from the astral body back into the physical.
Wow, that's fantastic work. That's really fascinating work. Great.
Yeah,
Now,
but anyone can do it because there's a technique behind it. It's
oh,
it's
I would
really
totally
interesting.
learn that.
People are amazed when they take my class and they're like, "Wow!" Like they didn't realize they'd be able to feel it and do it. And
I would
it's
absolutely
just
take that class. Yeah, that's something I just don't know that much about, and I'd be really, really interested. So, on this show, of course, we're focusing not so much on politics, but on more like very positive things, like how to keep your energy up. And we spoke a little bit beforehand, and the only problem is Jenn has so much material. You might be watching this video for a couple hours, right? Because there's just so much.
I, yeah, everybody knows I'm an Aries. I have no filter on the mouth. It just goes.
I'm way into that. I'm just completely down for that. So we spoke a little bit about kind of people getting stuck in a mindset and how they're sort of frozen. And you mentioned like how to sort of get out of that.
Yeah, a lot of people will have a negative thought pattern or something, and they don't think about it. They're not being conscious about it and learning to recognize when you have a negative thought, and learning to relanguage the brain right away. So if you're like, oh God, it's a horrible day, catch yourself, learn to catch yourself, and be a little bit more mindful and replace that thought immediately, because where your thoughts are is what you're going to attract in the universe, right? So if I'm like, oh God, this is just a horrible day. Everything's negative. Catch yourself and say, I am having a wonderful, happy, healthy day. And fake it till you make it. If you don't feel that way yet, fake it till you make it, because you'll get to where you do. It's the same thing as trying to manifest financial abundance, right? If you're like, oh God, I've got so many bills, I don't know how I'm going to pay them, right? If you focus on lack, you're just going to create more lack. If you focus on negative, fear based worry and those types of energies, you're just going to create more of that. So if you can catch yourself when the brain is thinking a thought like that and shift it, sometimes a pet or two will help too. Get your attention to it. All the cats are coming up.
Yeah.
Um, but
Uh,
catch yourself when you have one of those negative thought patterns, and think about, like, why do I have a negative thought pattern like that? Worry only serves fear. It doesn't serve anybody. It's not serving you. It's not serving your higher self to worry all the time. So learning to figure out what your fear is and keep going deeper with it. Like, if I get fear-based about something, I'm like, well, why do I worry about that? Or why do I fear that? And then I keep taking it deeper and deeper till I get to the root of where the fear is coming from. Because a lot of times the first thing you think of isn't the real fear. The real fear, you got to think about a little deeper.
And is it
Yeah.
just thinking that you're doing when you're getting to the real fears?
Yeah, it's like, oh, you know, if you're having trouble in a relationship connecting and communicating, it's like, oh, that maybe that person just isn't for me. And then it's like taking it deeper, is there a childhood trauma? Is there something that's triggering that? um if you can keep going deeper, and for me, going deeper means, well, why is that? Keep asking, well, why is that? And you answer yourself, and it's like, well, why is that? Like it's like a little toddler, why, until you
Yeah.
get to the root.
Right, right. It's just an example of this comes up maybe 12 years ago, just before I started really working with manifesting and really shifted everything. I met this very interesting fellow, and he said to me at some point, you know, Dave, every time you mention a rich person, you always say something negative about them. And I was quite poor at the time. He's like, there are rich people who do wonderful things. And they might be just as nice as you, Dave. You're just assuming because they're rich. It's like you're literally keeping wealth out by
Yeah, you're
criticizing
keeping
it, right? And
financial abundance away from you.
yeah, yeah, and that was a key to a shift, along with lot in my meditation. I do sort of what you do, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I
that kitty is just a star, isn't she?
yeah, I mean, for me, like, if I catch myself like I'm in a really repeating a negative pattern over and over, I'll put positive affirmations on post-it notes on my bathroom mirror and my refrigerator, because I know I'm going to see those multiple times a day. And like it, just like if you're trying to create financial abundance, right? Or happy, healthy mind. Just writing something as simple as I'm happy, healthy, and healed. And every time I see that, repeating it, like 3 times. I'm going to be repeating it multiple times a day, right? Because nobody goes to the bathroom once a day.
Right,
you
right.
know.
Fantastic.
So, or nobody goes to the refrigerator once a day either. So if you need post-it notes as reminders, put up little post-it notes, whatever works for you.
Yeah, whatever breaks up the energy of that cycle, it's all bad. It's all bad. It just continues in a circle. We also talked about uh, being an empath, because you mentioned, people are like, oh my God, I'm an empath. I'm soaking up all this energy. And tell us
Yeah.
more.
I used to laugh when I first moved. I lived most of my adult lifetime in New York. I'm outside of Chicago now, but I lived most of my adult lifetime in the New York City area and worked in Manhattan. And uh, I used to go to seminars there back in my 20s when I first moved up there back in the 1980s. That's where I learned healing energy work. And people would say, like, oh, I don't like walking around a busy city like that, all that energy and everything. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I love that drive of all that energy. Like, to me, it feels very exciting. I feel all that drive and energy.
Uh-huh.
So it's the empaths that, like, we're all empaths unless you're, you know, a major flaming narcissist. We all have some level of empathy for other people and their suffering. But I tell people all the time in personal readings, why you stay in that energy? It's like you can help somebody more if you take it as a message, like, okay, I'm feeling someone's suffering or somebody's pain. I see a homeless person on the street and, oh, my heart bleeds. Okay, say, take it off. Don't stay in that energy. It's as simple as saying, take it off. You don't have to stay in it. You can help someone more if you don't go in their energy with them. Yeah, I explain it a lot of times like this. If if you go to a therapist, does a therapist cry and scream and yell with you? No. They sit there, clinical. They'll let you cry, scream, and yell all you want, but they don't go into that emotion with you. They're there to guide you through your feelings and your emotions to help you heal. And it's the same with the same way with empaths. Don't, take it a little bit once you get the message, like, oh, that person's hurting, you know, take it as a message and then say, okay, got it, take it off. Don't stay in that energy. It'll just pull you down with them.
Hmm. Is there any technique that you use to wall yourself off from that energy or to keep that distance?
Literally for me, it's as simple as saying, okay, got it, take it off. Um, if I'm doing mediumship and if I pick up on someone that unalived themselves, I'll feel their depression for a minute. And I'm like, okay, got it, take it off. I don't stay in that.
Right.
They're just showing me what they were going through in life. They're not that way on the other side. They're healing on the other side. They're just showing me what they were going through in life. So
Brilliant.
it's kind of the same thing, whether, we're here to have human experiences. And man, life is hard. Life is not easy.
Yeah.
And for some people, it's really hard. It seems
Yeah.
like it's, a lot of struggles. But we're here to learn and to um, grow and expand our understanding of love and getting aligned with divine order. I call it getting your crown chakra open and getting aligned with divine order, and that helps it be a little bit easier, because life is not easy.
Yeah.
We're not, you know everybody talks about, like the ascension and everything and the energy changing and stuff. We're not meant to stay up here all the time. We have to come down at some point, light and dark, high energy, low energy, whatever it is. We can't maintain up here 24/7. I raise my vibration when I'm working as a medium, but I have to come down from that back into reality to have my human experience here.
Hmm.
I don't stay up there connecting, in a different dimension to departed loved ones. And it's exhausting. So, like, by the end of the day of doing mediumship all day, it's exhausting. Like, I need to rest. I have to come down and rest.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that I was told when I began this is don't do too many sessions a day. Like I'm the kind of person I'm like down with 2 sessions, and I've done these long past life regression sessions, but I had physical problems afterwards. I was not taking care of myself enough, not stretching enough. Alina Rodriguez was actually the one who's like, Dave, no more than 2 a day.
Yeah, yeah,
And
it's too much.
we
You know,
got
it
to do that in some level.
yeah, well, it you know, are you a people pleaser, or are you a giver and you don't know how to receive? So if you're giving all the time, you're just depleting your well, right?
Yeah.
What's feeding your well? You got to replenish your own energy a little bit. So it's okay to not be a people pleaser all the time. It's okay to say no. you
Yes.
know, don't
Yeah.
be afraid to say no, because you need to take care of yourself. Yeah, put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you help somebody else on the plane, right? You
Yes.
you have to take care of yourself first in order to help someone else.
It's an
Um,
excellent metaphor. That is absolutely hits home for me. So we also talked about just to keeping grounded and how to recognize ungroundedness.
yeah, you know, one clue for me, if I'm not grounded, I trip a lot. I literally physically trip a lot. I'm tripping over my feet. I'm not grounded. It's like I'm not feeling my feet and I stumble,
Wow.
Um, but I can tell when I'm not grounded too, because I can feel when other people's energies pulling me back and forth, and I'm like, oh, wait, no, I got to own my energy, my space. Pardon my cat.
Yes,
I
that's
have to own
right.
my energy, my space, and not let other people's energy, push and pull on me.
Mhm.
For me, like if I feel someone, draining my energy, whether it's an energy vampire or just a needy person, that's constantly sucking on my energy. I like to visualize a big saber knife, a big silver knife, and cutting the cords where they're trying to plug into me. So my energy is my space. I protect my space.
Mhm.
I don't let people plug into me,
Uh-huh. Right.
and
Because
they'll
again,
they'll try, you know.
yeah, it's again
But
really
I
wise.
think too, when you're taking care of yourself, um, yeah, you know. Yes, I like to meditate, but I don't meditate in a usual way. We were talking about this before. I sometimes will sit in my garden and meditate, but my favorite place to meditate is in a candle lit bubble bath. I like my little candles around the bathroom and fix a nice bubble bath and the aromatherapy and everything. That's where I love to meditate. And I
Mm,
will lay in a bathtub till I'm a prune, going within and guiding myself on a meditation.
wow.
I get more messages for myself
Hmm.
that way.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
My best friend takes a really long walk. There's
yeah,
just always these, it's your way. And it doesn't have to look like, the Buddha. It can look like anyone else. I do this full on meditation. I do the actual on the floor in my backyard kind of meditation. And when I do that, I do a lot of the things that you're doing. Like, what's the source of that? What's the source of that? What's the source of
yeah.
that? Um, as I'm doing it more, I'm less finding going to the source, and there is more peace, more just like connection and peace. But even after many years, it's like, maybe 30 seconds
Yeah.
that I'm not trying to meditate and I am meditating. People often call me and say, I must be doing it wrong. I'm getting distracted. I'm like, no, if you are getting distracted, you're doing it right because you're finding those things that are actually on your mind and you're getting to it's not him, it's my third grade teacher. You're getting to the basic stuff. And in that, sometimes meditation can feel like some sort of like punishment, or it's like having castor oil. And like what you're describing is actually quite pleasurable and fun and
Yeah. It's
relaxing.
it's very relaxing for me. And a lot of times, like when we're triggered, there's a trauma that goes way back. And most people do know like what their childhood traumas are, or what their early 20, maybe they were in a bad relationship or something at one time. Most people know what their trauma was, but they haven't healed from it. So they get stuck. And like I had to do a lot of healing in my early 20s from my childhood. There was a lot of abuse in my household. And I had to heal myself, before I could learn to heal someone else. And I always say, I experienced child abuse. I'm the victim of nothing. I do not buy into victimhood,
Right.
because that will keep pulling you down and back into it.
Mm-hmm.
So your past is to look at, to learn from, and to recognize, like, where are you sending anger? Where are you sending resentment? Where are you sending fear? Where are you sending, hate, or just disgust? Whatever those lower, who are you aiming it at? And then getting neutral with it, not sending love either. I like the Tibetan path, the middle ground. Find the middle ground, get neutral with it. If you can look at where you're sending negative energy, that tells you the triggers and the traumas that are there. And you can heal that and get neutral with it and not send any energy. So, like with my parents, I had to detach completely from them. I blessed them on their journey. I chose to not be a part of it. God gave me a brain. It's like, okay, as an adult, they couldn't physically abuse me, but they could still mentally and emotionally, right? So you have to um, be responsible for yourself and not let someone else harm you. So I learned how to, um, if I couldn't have a respectful relationship with someone as an adult, then detach and bless them on their journey. You don't have to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. I'm
Um,
really interested in what you said about like people getting over the trauma and the healing. This is a common thread in our community. How did you do
sure.
that? How did you just maybe take me from the very start of when you're
Yeah,
recognizing
I
it?
did several things because both my parents were narcissists. My mother was a victim narcissist. She liked to play the poor me pity, but she allowed a lot of negative things to happen in the house. My dad was a rage narcissist. And I sat there, first thing I said was, why the hell did I choose them as a parent? Like, who would make a
Right.
full contract with these people, right?
Yes.
It's like, was I out of my mind, apparently?
Right.
And a lot of times we're sent to them to try to help them, to help them learn to not be that way. But they have free will. They choose what path they're going to go down. So I started with some simple things like writing down, what did I learn from each parent? because even though there was a lot of negative and rage energy in the house, there were things that I learned. My dad, total patriarchal, women are only fit to be barefoot and pregnant, right? Women are stupid.
Yeah.
That was his attitude towards women. And I learned to be extremely self-reliant to keep a roof over my head, because I wasn't going to move back home, right? To keep a roof over my head and not to depend on someone else to keep a roof over my head.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, recognizing some of those things, even though it was kind of a negative thing, but I recognized how it affected me in a positive way. It taught me self-reliance and to be responsible for myself.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, I know we said we weren't going to get too political, but
Okay.
my mom could outlie Donald Trump,
Wow.
if you can imagine.
Wow.
Um, but she was very creative, which you have to be to create a lot of lies, right?
Really
So
creative. Yeah.
yeah, she had a love of music that I got and still do. Like I started guitar lessons at 57, right? I played instruments when I was younger and got back into it. I love music. She did a lot of crafting and things that were creative, and also a lot of my creative interests started with her, and then I took it where I wanted to take it.
Yeah.
But
Well,
there
it's just,
were positive things I learned even in a negative situation.
mhm.
But I also learned to recognize, like, I kept getting bosses that were narcissists like my dad over and over. As I got into the corporate world, got into the working world, it's like, oh God, there's my dad's energy again. Hang on, So I learned to recognize it quicker so that I could set my boundaries. You know,
Mhm.
you can't get away from somebody when you work with them, but you can set boundaries and let them know, you're not going to talk to me that way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like a sort of alchemy that I sometimes see, even people who've experienced like, horrific parents or horrific childhoods, and just, there is just nothing to be forgiven there. I mean, it's just so bad sometimes that you could really get stuck in that energy. But I really admire how almost everyone, and I'm sure this changes in the future, more people are able to do this. Most people are able to do what you've done and able to say, okay, this happened. What can I mine out of it for myself? Right? I
It,
cannot change it. I cannot, the fact that it was wrong is, well, it is. I can't change that. But
it,
what could I mine out of this?
right there, and some people need help with that. There's wonderful therapists out there that can help guide you on a healing journey. It's like, because a lot of people, like, they'll suppress memories. It'll be so bad they'll suppress memories. So sometimes they need, a therapist to help guide them through that. So if you can't get there on your own, then I would seek professional help
Yeah,
because that's what they're there for.
yeah.
Just like
Don't
if I
hesitate.
had an
Yeah,
ailment, I'd go to a doctor, right? If
right.
there's something I can't get to the root of, and I'm either angry all the time, or I'm in tears all the time, or I'm triggered all the time. When you're triggered because you're like either angry or you're cheerful or you're like hiding, like don't look at me.
Uh,
There's like what the triggers are, and that's not being grounded. You
yeah.
know, that's when you're going to trip over yourself over and over and over again until you heal it.
Hmm.
For me, you know, we're kind of going full circle, going back to feeling grounded.
Sure.
Um, I like to put my soles of my feet on the floor and stomp them till I feel my feet. If I don't feel my feet, I'm not grounded.
Uh-huh. Great. That's a really nice.
If I don't feel some weight on my feet, we're here on Earth, and that's to me, gravity's a reminder. We're here to have a human experience, good, bad, or indifferent. There is no good, good or bad. It's both. It's all of it. Um, how if us judging something as good or bad, there's no mistakes. It's always what did you learn from it?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yep. That uh, someone could go through child abuse and learn something from it tells you, there are no mistakes. There's just what did I learn from it and how do I move forward?
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
at the past to learn from it. Don't live in the past. If you're
Yeah.
living in the past and you keep talking about it over and over and you can't get out of it, then you're stuck. You
Yeah.
know, you're not healing.
Yeah. And one thing I'll recommend too is if you can't afford a therapist, there's a guy named Robert Johnson, and he wrote a book called Inner Work, and it's almost how you can self therapy. It's well, it is how you can self therapy, and
Mhm.
by the way, not all therapists are right for you. I totally recommend them, but be sure it's a right, and it may not be a good match. I definitely prefer Jungian therapists and transcendental ones because they're much more spiritually minded. But really, what you're looking for is somebody that cares about you. That's the most important thing. So, one more trick. Can you give us one more before we go?
Oh, you know, smile, dance, my two favorite things. Like go in the grocery store and smile at a stranger. They're going to wonder what you're thinking about, and that's kind of funny. But like that's the quickest way to lift energy is to smile.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you're having a low day, go in the bathroom and smile at yourself in the mirror. You'll start laughing, and you'll immediately feel that lift of energy. Smiling is the quickest way to shift your own personal energy space.
Mm-hmm.
I like to dance. I like to crank up the music in the kitchen and dance. I'm
Mm-hmm.
constantly dancing around the kitchen. I like to blast a Christmas CD in June and dance around the kitchen. Something really off kilter. Um, and be gentle on yourself. Like we are not meant to have everyday high joy. Happy joy, as Ren and Stimpy said. They had a song called Happy joy. We're not meant to stay there all the time. You're gonna have low days. I was telling Dave before we started. I think it comes in cycles, and I actually took a wall calendar and I wrote down days that I was up, like I had a lot of energy, and days where I was just kind of neutral, medium energy, and then days that were low. And I saw I had a pattern that around the first and second of the month, each month, I had a low day, a low energy day. So I don't overschedule myself on the first and second of the month. I try to um, have gentle days those days because I know my energy's not going to be as high. Those are not the days I'm going to spring clean, right? I'm going to take it easy on those days. Rest when you need it and do the work when you've got the energy,
Mm-hmm.
but learn to recognize like what are my patterns? Yeah, what are
Mm-hmm.
my thought patterns? What are my energy patterns? Where's my consciousness going and being aware of it because that's what you're creating in your reality.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
are all gods. We are all creators. We're creating our own reality. So think about what you're creating.
Yeah, think about your smile and like how that's changing the room because I find that that's really true. And I'm going to take a little departure here, Jen, and just so I can be like one of your clients is experiencing your work. Do your angels? I know you work with angels. Any messages for me?
Um, you know, one thing, angels are so readily available for us. My logo on my website and on my channel is a dragonfly, and that's my symbol for Archangel Raphael, who I've been aware of since childhood. Nobody talked about Raphael in my house. I was raised Southern Baptist. Nobody mentioned Archangel Raphael, but I was aware of Raphael, and I have a very close relationship with Raphael. But I work with all the angel energies. So if if I'm having a rough time, I'll ask them, I'll just sit down on the sofa and say, come sit with me a minute, you know, and you feel that connection. Ask your guides to come in and your angels to come in and sit with you, and just be for a minute, and get back in the moment. Um, I've had some crazy metaphysical experiences at times where I was having a low day, breaking, going through a bad breakup, feeling really down, feeling like I'd kind of lost myself. And I was walking down the street and I had on a denim jacket. And I'm walking down the street and my hands are in the pockets of the denim jacket. And I felt a hand take my hand inside the denim jacket, inside the pocket
Wow.
as I'm walking down the street and I'm like, oh, we're not alone. We're not alone. So it's a message for you and for everyone. We're never alone. You know, I hear people say, I don't know, I don't think my angel guide's paying attention or whatever. It's like, no, you're not paying attention. Hang on.
Mm,
Just get in the moment. They're always with us.
wonderful.
And
Jenn
you
Lynn,
know, you know when they're sitting beside you because you get those angel tingles across the shoulder and down the back. You know, it's like, oh, they're here.
I think we get them, but you're noticing them more, and we can notice them more. Jenn, this was just great. Was exactly what I'm after. It's wonderful to talk to you, and I could go on for a couple more hours, but we got to stop
Yeah,
at some
yeah.
point.
Be down to earth and practical. Don't
Yeah,
take a baby step. Take a baby step. Don't try to change the world tomorrow. You know,
yeah,
if you're having a rough time, take a baby step.
yes, yeah. Think of yourself too. Thanks so
Think
much.
about what you're willing to do. Take a
Yeah,
baby step towards that.
thanks so much, Jenn. This was great. And
Thank you.
again, if you'd like to get a hold of Jenn, it's jennlynntarot.com. You can make a wonderful appointment with her. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Thank you.